English Forward presents.
Hi, Joe. How are you?
I'm fine. What about you?
Yeah, excellent. Thank you. Very good.
Great.
Am I coming through clearly?
Yeah, here
Right.
really good.
That's cool, man. Are you ready to kick off?
Yeah, sure. Let's go.
Okay, excellent. Joe, it's great to be chatting to you today. I'd just like to introduce you to our audience. Today, we're going to be chatting to Joe Wilp, engineer, online marketer, and blockchain and real estate expert. Welcome to the English Forward podcast, Joe.
Thank you, Mitch. Thank you. Thanks for having me.
Good to have you here. Can you tell us a little bit about yourself, where you're from and where you're based in the world?
Sure. I'm Joe from Germany. I'm 27 years old. At the moment, I'm working on a Digitalization Industry 4.0 project for an automotive company near to my hometown in Greeten, Germany. And besides, I own an online shop for blockchain merchandise, and I'm part of the business development team of Annuity.io. That's a blockchain startup for life annuities.
Excellent. We're going to be touching on all of those and getting your input on it. So looking forward to discussing that.
Great.
How did you actually start out in the business world?
Wow, how did I start up? I started as an apprenticeship in mechanical engineering for an engine company. We have repaired engines for ships and trains. And from this, I moved onwards with Master Craftsman. This is a special German qualification for far-built engineers. And then I moved on to Dubai, where I discovered the field of quality assurance, which helped me now 7 to 8 years. And there I was 1.5 years group leader of a quality assurance team.
That must have been interesting, eh?
Excuse me?
That must have been very interesting.
Yes, it was pretty interesting. I was really young at this time, like 21, and this was a whole new world for me. So I learned a lot in this time, and once I came back to Germany, I had some problems to find a job here because I told, okay, you've been abroad and you're so young, you lead your team, we are not sure if we can give you a job. So that's when I started also my first online shops and played a little bit around and decided to go studying again. So I studied engineering and business development. And from there on, I'm around like process designing and quality management, things like this.
That's quite interesting. So you've really got an academic brain, but an entrepreneurial spirit.
Yeah, I hope so.
That's great. If I had to ask you, who is Joe Wilp, what would you say to me?
Wow. Good question. I think a young guy is still learning, discovering his path in this world. And pretty open-minded, especially for new technologies like blockchain.
I love that. Joe, I wanted to ask you, I saw on your LinkedIn profile it mentions Decentral Labs GmbH. What is that?
Yes, this company we founded 2 years ago with 2 friends as a blockchain startup, unfortunately right before the market crashed. So at the moment we're in the closing process. We had an idea of an impressive blockchain startup, but we were a bit too early, I think. We had built up the Tropy Token project, so to build new communities. Let's say a new way of living in open-minded small cities, with big technology integrations. And but it didn't work out, so we didn't raise the sufficient funding, and we tried to close the project.
I actually wanted to ask you, because I know you mentioned, was that your comment when you wrote to me about the tiny houses?
Yes, exactly. It's what like tiny house cities.
Explain that concept to me, Joe.
Sure. We plan to purchase a bit of land and place there tiny houses, a bit ecologically sufficient, and with the wind park and solar, and tried to open up a new community for the blockchain people. But yeah, it was right when the market crashed to the bear market, and nobody wants to lend us money, and that's where we decided to skip this project. Anyway, there is one project from Germany pretty similar to this. It's Kudu. I'm doing a bit of consulting for them. They already have tiny houses a special way, COODO.com. You can check on it. They have an amazing design. And they planning to open resorts, a bit more holiday based. We were like, for all year living. They do a similar project for holiday times.
Yeah, look, I just think your idea is before its time, because that's definitely where we're all headed in the future.
Yeah, exactly. I hope so.
Yeah, definitely. It has to. We have to change. We're actually going to talk a little bit about that a bit later on in the conversation. But if we don't change as a species, we're just heading off the cliff. And that's one of the things. Joe, how's your previous experience equipped you for your current role and passion in the blockchain and real estate consulting industry?
It equipped me a little bit with a lot of good contacts. I know pretty much people around the German blockchain space, also in Europe. I saw you're based in South Africa. Unfortunately, they're a bit low on contacts.
Okay, well, you got one now.
Yeah, I got one. Here's a company. That's great, yeah. No, a lot of contacts, a lot of experience, and a lot of ideas. Let's say ideas. Yeah, I'm full of ideas, and I think that's pretty great because I want to change something.
Excellent. I definitely pick that up from all your stuff. So that's great. So what actually inspires you?
Freedom. Let's say freedom. Yeah, freedom is my drive.
And what do you mean by that?
A life that people want, that people can work for, like a free world with less structure than we have right now, and to have a bunch of open-minded people chasing their dreams. That's freedom for me.
That sounds wonderful. I'm in. You can count me as part of your crew.
Great.
Joe, is there anything absurd or unusual that you love doing?
Absurd or unusual? Let me think about. I'm doing some yoga, but that's not really unusual anymore.
Yeah, that's right.
Else, I like to sell. I think that's a bit unusual, especially for Germany. I like the process of selling. I discovered it this year, and I'm diving a little deeper at the moment. So it's amazing for me that you can learn the skill. Actually,
absolutely, yeah, it's a very useful skill to know.
Yeah.
And when you aren't working, what are you doing in your leisure time?
I got a pretty nice girlfriend. I'm spending a lot of time with her. I like cars, actually. Even when I have my ecological side, there's still this engine mechanic in me. Yeah. So I like to play with cars and rent a nice one, drive around with my girlfriend, things like this. I like also to travel. I'm traveling like 4 to 5 times a year, mostly short trips. My last was to Lisbon, Portugal 2 months ago. Okay. That's awesome for me. Meeting new people, seeing new places. That's what I really love.
Yeah, it's interesting. We talk about cars. I've got a partner in South Africa in another business, and he's also into classic cars. And two of our friends have just put together a classic. They call it Contours. It's a classic car show. It's the second one in our city.
Wow.
The first one was last year. And there are a lot of people that come and exhibit cars, from antiques all the way through to your classic cars today. And it's actually fascinating. It's something that's growing in our city, and there's a real interest and a lot of enthusiasts.
Yes, it's really amazing. I know this from my parents, They also own 2 classic cars, and they're in a community organizing events here in our region. And yeah, always, it's amazing. It's a nice bunch of people. They really care about their cars, and it's, yeah, also the design of the old cars is, yeah, unbelievable.
Yeah, and tell me, what is the most unusual business you've been involved in?
The most unusual business was probably Tropy Token or Decentralabs. Our idea of building a new future and new society. So this was pretty unusual, but yeah, wasn't well organized. Let's say like this. It was still one of our first businesses, and we're learning every time at the moment.
Yeah, that's it. We're all part of that journey of learning, aren't we?
Yeah, sure.
Can we talk about your online store, the Shitcoin Lovers?
Yeah, sure, we can.
Tell me about it. It's an interesting concept. How did you come up with the idea? How did you start?
I came up with the idea after we failed with Tropy Token. I thought, okay, I need to stay in the blockchain scene, still do something. I also know a bunch of people in Asia and had a good contact there. So I thought of how importing goods and starting an online shop. I also tried it several times before. It wasn't as good as this time. Yeah, there I was like, okay, I need something different, a little bit funny. That's why I named it Shitcoin Lovers Shop.
Yeah,
And yeah,
that's an interesting name, man.
Yeah, it's great. It's was my shitcoin time. I was collecting shitcoins at this time a lot. And there I thought, okay, I need a little tribute to this part of my life, collecting shitcoins. Yeah, I tried to find some funny products around blockchain and cryptocurrencies, put them on a website, but currently there's a little redesign. At the moment, I'm in contact with a few suppliers in Germany and trying to specialize me on 2-3 things. Not available on this website right now. It's going in the direction of sweets. So
okay,
this
that's
could be awesome, yeah. Check it from time to time. I think 4 to 5 weeks, then I'm ready, and yeah.
Yeah, I'll definitely do that. I'll definitely keep an eye on and see what you're doing there.
Great.
You know, I've actually got a background in real estate, and so when I saw that you were consulting in that industry and with annuity incomes, etc., it was really interesting for me because those are 2 of my passions as well: real estate and blockchain.
Perfect,
And
man.
I just wanted to chat a little bit about your role in Annuity.io. I think it's a very interesting concept that highlights what everybody ultimately wants to achieve in life, which is an annuity-based income, so that in your later years, you're not dependent on your family or friends, and you can actually have some self-pride and earn an income. Can you just talk us through that concept?
Sure, exactly. You outlined it pretty good. So we will do something for elder poverty, or against elder poverty. We got a lot of this in Germany as annuities are going straight downwards because yeah, the German people are getting older and older, and nobody is paying in the annuity system. So to solve this, there's a concept called life annuity. I'm not sure if you know it behind our borders. In Germany, it's pretty common. It's a classic finance concept. We brought it to the blockchain with an asset platform, Annuity. We got a company behind of it, the Bergfelder Leibrenten.
Yeah.
This is it's a classic company. It exists for a few years. They already gave out a lot of life annuities, and it works like you sell your house or your company or your classic car, whatever, to the Bergfelder Leibrenten. And the Bergfelder Leibrenten grants you a life annuity until you die. and you still live in your house, or you use your car, you own your or you run your company, you still have the right to use it all the way down of your life. So it's pretty interesting for people that don't have kids, or nobody else they need to care about. They just want to enjoy their life evening, and so they can have a bit of extra money, and doesn't need to look so much on this point.
I think it's a great idea. It's not common in South Africa at all. I have read a little bit about it, and I think it's a fascinating concept. So what is your role with Annuity?
I'm doing there a little bit of business development. I got part-time team member, let's call it like this. The CEO is a friend of mine, and as I told, I got a few contacts in the German blockchain sphere. So I'm connecting them with people, especially around advisors, and also a little bit of investors. That's pretty much my role. I'm bringing new people into Annuity.
Okay, that's excellent. I think it's actually a brilliant concept, and something that's really necessary, not just in Germany, but globally, because, all over the world, the global poverty of old people is just growing, and we realize there's a massive problem worldwide. And when I was sitting thinking about this, one of the questions that I think we all need to ask is, how did it actually end up like that for them? And is there anything we can do now for younger people, as far as education, to actually prevent that happening again and later in their lives?
Exactly. So that's the point of life. So we need to change our society, in my mind, a little bit to solve this forever. But at the moment, I think this life and new concept is pretty great. And sorry for going back, but that's one point why we brought it to the blockchain, to make it accessible to the whole world. As we know, this problem is rising everywhere. And this is a part of decentralizing this concept and bringing it all over the world.
Yeah, I like it. I really like it, because if I think of younger people again, and maybe you can give us some thoughts, how would young people embrace the concept with Annuity and what you guys are doing? Because if it was embraced early on, it could solve a lot of problems as they grow through their lives, where they don't have an annuity problem later on.
Sure, definitely. So for Annuity special, young people should know the concept, spread the word, first of all. And sure, also young people like invested in a few properties or something can solve their life with this. Like they also can rent it out to sell it to us, and stay in their properties. But to make it pretty, make it work really good, you should be a little bit elder. So I see the young people's more focusing on education, on building up their assets, and later on they should remind there is something, I can stop working now, sell my house, still live in it, and enjoy the last part of my life.
Okay, so the product's aimed more at people that are a little bit more mature, that have actually created some assets in their life, and then they sell that asset to the company and enter into the arrangement that Annuity has.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah, that sounds excellent. I like that concept.
Thanks, man.
I when we talk about education and what have you, the biggest look, we obviously an English language platform, and there are lots of other education portals, etc. But the one thing that I find lacking, especially amongst young people, is financial education. And like the concept we've just discussed now, is a very relevant concept that along the road, everybody should have some exposure to, because it gives them an option to create an annuity later on in their life. Yes. But most people don't actually know about it.
Yeah, unfortunately not. So we need to spread the word that what we are doing at the moment, and even financial education in general is a problem, I think. So you don't learn it at school. That's one of the biggest issues, I think. You learn a bunch of things languages are far the most useful, I think, with mathematics for sure. But there's a lot of things you will never need in your life. Why don't they teach you how to keep an eye on your money? I don't understand.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. You know what I did with, I've got two children. My daughter is 17 now and my son's 14. And so when my daughter was about 14, she had the job, and now my son's got the job. We've got a building with 20 offices in the building.
Okay.
And there's obviously rental that's get collected. There's advertising. My brother runs the building in a different city. And every month we have to pay across rates to the local municipality for the refuse and all that sort of thing. So when my daughter was 14, we set up a business where she actually ran that building.
Wow.
So she had to get all the money in, get all the emails from the city of Johannesburg, put them into a spreadsheet, get the credit card, pay it, make sure it all balanced, and then email the recons to my brother. And over a period of time, we taught her how to actually, in a very practical way, manage a balance sheet and an income statement for that building.
Wow.
And yeah, it was and my son is, he's doing the same thing now. So they're both very different characters. She's much more, probably like you, organized, efficient, etc. He's sanguine. He wants to have fun and what have you, but they both learned the same skills. And you realize if there was a program that could teach younger people, and they had a vision of something like you guys are doing it at Annuity down the line, and with stepping stones to teach people, they could actually end up having a very different outcome in their life.
Definitely. So that's a big point, and I think it's impressive how you do it. Your children are far ahead, I think, if they got that teaching these things to them. Congratulations for this, honestly.
But it's funny, Joe. I thanks for it, but it's something that can be done practically. I'm really passionate about young people and them getting a better chance, because when I look in our country, it's very difficult for young people to get going unless they come from quite a privileged background. So they have access to money, and I don't know what it's like in Germany, but so I'm passionate about that.
Yeah, definitely. It's the same here. Did you ever thought about learning it on your platform or teaching it on your platform?
It was one of the things I put down originally, but there's so much other stuff to teach people. Like you and I take it for granted that we know English and we can communicate, both orally and written and online, etc. But we're a very small minority of the world. And yet the sciences, maths, everything like that is all centered around English. Yeah. And in many countries, I don't know what Germany's like, but in many countries, you would earn 25% more pay if you know English, as opposed to somebody else applying for the same job if they don't.
Well, okay.
So it's, when you start on the back foot like that as a young person, how do you ever catch up? So to answer your question, there's so much work for me to do just in getting people to be able to communicate. But I like your suggestion, and I think it's definitely an important one to consider, because it is definitely the next step between what we're doing and then getting to what you're doing and teaching people about how to secure their future.
Definitely. Maybe we can also offer it in a small series of blogs or something. I will speak to our CEO, and yeah, for sure you got enough work to teach people English. That's a long way, even here in Germany. Unfortunately, English is still a bit low. As I told, I'm traveling a lot. I think the general English education in Germany is far lower than in other countries still at the moment.
Okay. Well, listen, I'd love to collaborate with you on that. If I can be of any help and input, please just let me know how I can contribute.
Sure, perfect, definitely. We will find a way.
I was reading, obviously Germany is a very progressive country. and it's got a very low unemployment rate.
Yes.
It's like under 5%. And I think, so that must give hope to people that are starting out, and because they know once they have, got their qualification, there's actually quite a good chance of them getting a job. And I know you've been involved in the German dual system for apprentices, and there are lots of different ways you can actually receive qualifications in Germany. Can you just tell me your experience of it and how it works practically? Because I think it's a fantastic system.
Sure, it's definitely a fantastic system. I think Germany is still one of the few countries that use this system. It's you got a minimum of 10 years in school in Germany, and afterwards you can decide. You go either 3 more years to school, let's call it grammar school. That's the only form of school that offers us 3 more years. All other forms of school go when they are 16 to start working. And to start working, you go first 3 days a week to work and 2 days to school. And this continues for 3 to 3.5 years, depending on your job that you want to learn.
Okay.
You get all the skills practically in the company and theoretically in the school. It's a pretty awesome system. I also did it with my mechanics degree, and went 3 years in a company to learn to be an engine mechanic. And after this, you're not at the end. You can start working in a good paid job afterwards, or you can also get some more education. In this case, you can go for a technician or a master craftsman if you're in a technical job. Other jobs have a lot of different options. And once you reach one of these degrees, technician or master craftsman, you already get the now I need your English skills. You can go to a university, let's say, like, and there you meet again the people that have stayed 3 more years in school, and this brings it to be a little bit more practically in learning a job in Germany, and making it comparable over the lot of German cities. So
but it's obviously working because your unemployment is under 5%.
Yeah, sure. It's definitely working. Even markets are pretty good in Germany at the moment. We are exporting a lot, and everything is growing right now.
So I wanted to ask you with that system, when you did your apprenticeship and then learning, were you employed by that company?
Yes, sure. You're employed by that company and you get paid by that company. You get a little salary, a few hundred euros a month. In other countries like South Africa, this is a lot, I'm sorry. But I think you get like 20% of the wage of the full worker.
Yeah, okay. Because we with education and obviously blockchain, we've just been thinking about companies that, how you would create a relationship between a person, a student, and a company that wanted to go and study full time. So, for example, what's happening is there are a lot of kids that come out of schools, out of universities that don't have relevant degrees to the employers. So they're learning something, but their skill is not relevant. And a good thing to do would be actually go to the employer and say, what type of skills are you looking for? Then find a good candidate and match them, and then enter into a smart contract so that if the employer pays for them to actually go and study and do whatever, they would give them work afterwards and ensure that they had an employee that was trained and able to do the job that they needed performed. So I suppose it's just different. It's like the system that you're doing, maybe just in the reverse a little bit.
Exactly. Yeah, it's pretty much the same, and it's an impressive idea. I think still this is the best way to produce, let's say, useful employees. So also it works here since hundreds of years, I guess.
I know, it's incredible. We had some Swiss people stay with us last week, and he's a bit older, and he actually went through a very similar thing in Switzerland.
Yeah.
He was actually in the motor industry, did his apprenticeship, etc., and it was fascinating to chat to him because it obviously worked. I mean, he's a lot older than you, and it worked then, it's working now, and that's encouraging.
Yeah, exactly. So it's a good system. You should pretty much use this to get this done everywhere in the world.
Yeah, we can take a leaf out of Germany's book. I want to actually chat a little bit more about Germany, because something that I'm fascinated about is aggregate efficiency of countries. And obviously you're involved with digitalization and industry 4.0. Can you tell us, your interest, what you're doing, how you see the future?
Sure. My interest is in technical general. At the moment, I'm doing the project lead to digitalize the automotive company. We're doing there a lot, like from a new ERP system up to setting up in business intelligence, connecting all the machines to the cloud, collecting a lot of data of this, also setting up a predictive maintenance and new collaboration tools to get the whole company on a more modern level, and to also prepare for the future, because I think Germany is still a little bit back behind the USA or so when it's coming to digitalization, but we need to keep up now to not lose our part in the world economy, and that's what we are actually doing right now with this automotive company. It's a supplier to big OEMs, and opening up a lot of factories all over the world. So we sort of a way how to connect all of these factories and to make it visible, make the production visible, and make the problems visible, make the solutions visible, and copy them from one branch to another. There's a lot to do. I think the future is open for things like this, and it's needed.
Yeah, definitely. You know, it's funny. We're just talking about aggregate efficiency, and I heard a lecture a little while back. I forget the presenter, and they were talking about the different countries' aggregate efficiency. So I think America's was at around about 12 or 13%.
Wow.
Germany was 17 or 18%. So it was actually ahead of America.
Really?
Japan is the most efficient country ever. And they got to 20% aggregate efficiency, and that was like 20 odd years ago.
That's crazy.
And it is crazy because you realize that things have to change. And that's what I love what you're doing with digitalization and Industry 4.0, because what he spoke about were three different things. And he actually was boasting about what Germany was doing. He said they're changing their transportation, the energy, and the communication. And if those three things can change over time, society as a whole needs to change their mindset, and then the whole aggregate efficiency of the company or the country actually goes up. So, like for example, with energy, it's actually making buildings, as you were talking about with small cities, more energy efficient. That's crucial. So you need better building materials, etc. So it's fascinating with where it's all going, isn't it?
It's pretty interesting and pretty fascinating for me. And even if you talk for buildings, we got since a few years we got rules in Germany. If you build a new house, it needs to be on the level of energy efficiency we couldn't think about 10 years ago. So that's pretty amazing. But even to produce your own energy, it's so easy at the moment. Like if you think about 30 years ago to put some solar panels on your roof. Nobody thought about it. At the moment, you can just get some wind or sun to make you your own energy. That's pretty amazing point for me. And we should definitely push this more forward.
Is that widely accepted in Germany now? Is the majority of the population getting behind that idea, or is it a government initiative where rules are put in place that you have to do it a certain way to get the population to move together?
It's a mix of both. So the government is pretty innovative in this sphere of energy efficiency, but also we got a lot of people having their thoughts on this and running through the TV, the newspapers, and spreading these ideas. I think it's a mixture from the people and the government. In Germany, it works pretty well, I think.
I think with adoption is such a critical component of any new technology.
Yeah,
and getting it at scale. And I think, look, Germany is a very forward-thinking society. They want to compete on a global level, and Africa is a little bit different to that, in that we have different challenges and what have you. Energy is a massive challenge here, and yet we have so many natural resources that could sort those challenges out. But the political will has to make the decision, and then business can follow from there, which sounds like in Germany that's actually happened.
Yeah, in Germany that's happened, yeah, definitely. I think Africa is a bit, got a few problems in this politics thing still.
Yeah, we look north and we'll watch what you're doing, man.
Yeah.
When we talk about critical mass and how crucial it is to adoption with new technologies, obviously blockchain is right at the beginning. It's in day one in what the future could be like and how it can be a useful technology for humanity. What is your view for blockchain adoption?
My view for blockchain adoption, I think it will be adopted, but I'm not sure if it will be adopted in general as a lot of new cryptocurrencies. I think there's a very high potential to get it as the second layer in web development. We would tell for the back end. There are a few solutions you can use blockchain to make life easier, especially also in real estate or in education. I'm not sure how this really works out, but I believe in a few years we will not know we are using blockchain technology in the back end.
Yeah, I think I agree with you. I think so like the software or the interface that the man in the street uses would be something that's very intuitive to him, and they can use it and it runs on the blockchain, but they don't know it. I agree with that 100%.
Yeah.
And do you see, we've obviously got two different camps. We've got the centralized and the decentralized camps. Mm-hmm. Do you believe there's some sort of middle ground that we'll meet at and develop from there?
Maybe. I think this is a little based on the personalities leading to camps.
Yeah, you're probably right.
If they find together, it could be a pretty productive ground for a new way in the middle. To be honest, I'm a little bit more at the decentralized camp at the moment still. Also because of my thoughts on freedom and things like this, I like decentralization. Decentralization is a big thing. But also there is a lot of things like companies will long be run centralized from now on, I think. I don't find a way to get a classic company. I don't know how it's with yours. Maybe it's far more decentralized as a standard one. But if I think on automotive companies or things like this, I can't imagine how to run them really decentralized.
Yeah, it's interesting because I think that's one of the challenges that you have with blockchain or whatever the technology will end up being. In that, how do you actually overcome the infancy of a technology with, when you're in an environment that's got legacy systems? So you've got very, very big companies that are established, they've got established manufacturing patterns, distribution patterns, etc. And then you try and implement this new technology, which would actually work, but obviously they are making money, and unless they are forward thinking, as you say, you've got a captain at the helm that actually decides to do something. It's difficult to change that. How do you see that?
Sure, it's definitely difficult to change this, but I think someday we're coming on a point where you need to change this or your company goes broke. And I think latest on this point, a lot of companies will discover, okay, we need to change something. When the day comes, I don't know. This depends a lot of our technical developments, but I think much earlier than the most people think.
So you believe it's certainly something I believe, we're living through a turning point. It's like a pivot. Yeah. How property, how automotive industry, how banking, finance, education, it's on that tipping point where a technology can actually change the way that people interact and set up going forward. Do you think that's true?
Yeah, exactly. We are staying right on a turning point, and it's not really related to blockchain, but from a QM side, I can say there's a lot of documents coming every year to be filled, and some way it needs to be done automatically. Otherwise, you need to employ so many people that your company isn't rentable anymore. And I think there will happen something in the next years. Definitely, a lot of companies will go broke because they don't get this turning point, and the other ones will rise.
Obviously with your engineering background, and it's a very data-driven environment that you work in. Yeah. On the other end of the scale, you have intuition. How much do you rely on data and reading the data versus using your intuition when it comes to these technologies, which are, they're groundbreaking?
Even in new technologies, there's still a lot of intuition needed. As far more developed and technology is, there's more you can rely on the data collected until this point. But especially in new technologies like blockchain, there's still a lot of it's a feeling, a movement, something's going forward, and I think this just comes from your belly.
Yeah, I suppose you're right. You have to trust in your instincts.
Yeah.
Be brave and step forward.
Definitely. But if there's data, I rely to like 75% on data. I think this is my personality.
Okay, excellent. Do you have a daily ritual or a habit that you feel is integral to your success in the space, the blockchain space that you're working in? Is this something that you do, the way you start your day, any habit that you practice on a continual basis?
Yes, I have some habits in the morning and in the evening. It's a little bit of sports. I do eat fruits every morning. I trained this really hard the last year until it went into my brain. Now I'm getting angry if I don't get my fruits at the morning. This really helps me to start the day a little bit better. I also do a little bit of sports, not much. It's like 10 minutes every morning, some workouts at home.
Okay.
This has been a great change for me, definitely. And I'm reading every day since about 2 years. I'm trying to read 1 hour every day.
That sounds like you've got some good habits in your life, which is great.
Sure, definitely, but need to build them more out. Build some bad habits there as well, like I'm still smoking. I know this is not good for me. This is not good for future. I'm not good for health. But it's still there.
But at least you're conscious of it, Joe.
Excuse me?
At least you're conscious of it.
Yeah, sure.
Making a conscious declaration about things that you want to change, and you're doing something positive about the things that you are changing, and that's excellent.
Definitely. Continuous improvement, we say in
quality. What is the worst recommendation you've heard in the blockchain industry?
Worst recommendation, like for a startup or?
Yeah, for a startup, basically.
Bitcoin Cash?
Yeah.
No, I think there's a lot of bad recommendations, especially for the starters in the blockchain world, thinking about investing. There's still a lot of paid groups. You probably heard of it. So the most shitty recommendation in this this blockchain world, besides free giveaways on Twitter, for like send me 1 EOS, you will get 2 back.
Yeah.
These are the 2 things we need to erase, let's say.
Yeah, I think as it progresses, those sort of guys will get weeded out. It's all part of that education we spoke about, isn't it?
Yeah, definitely. So yeah, education is key.
Yeah, with the clients that you're working with your online marketing and what have you, I read once, I love this saying, and if a user can't find it, it doesn't exist, irrespective of how good it is. How do you help your clients, the companies that you're working with, to get their products to stand out?
Yeah, it's easy. You're talking about web online marketing, right?
Yeah, that's right.
So there we got a nice concept. It's targeting small and medium enterprises in Germany that doesn't have their digital PR. Most of them still don't have a website, like local shops and things like this. And we do help them. We take their hand and go the way in the digital world with them.
Okay.
We try to make it as easy as possible for our clients. Most times we do a lot of work for them, but we also teach them how to keep that standard, the new standard, how to find new ways of business. Last time I had a shoe store. It was a pretty innovative guy, young guy, but he also had a website. And we made him to offer a foot measurement service on his website. He got a lot of new clients.
That's clever.
Too lazy to come to the shop before to measure their foot. So they got a sheet of paper. They can measure it and enter their dimensions and collect their shoes like 3 days later on.
Really clever.
Perfect fitting shoes. Things like this we are doing with our clients, but this is based from project to project. It's a little bit different. It depends. Targeting a lot of local businesses here that were during the last years.
That's excellent. Obviously, when you're working with a company like you just mentioned, with a guy with a shoe store, sometimes you run into a dead end or an obstacle or a problem, a challenge, whatever it is. How do you work through something like that when you get stuck? And in particular, what are the questions you would ask yourself to get out of a problem, to stimulate finding an answer and solving that challenge?
One of the first questions I'm asking myself is my own process, my own style of work in this case right? Or do I need to change something? I always try to look on the things I can control by myself. I don't like this to say, okay, something happened, I can't go on my way. It highly depends on the problem also, how to target this. In the worst cases, I will stop and meditate for 5 minutes. This is also one really good habit I developed within the last years. If
I like
I
it.
don't see a street straightforward, I will think about how to maneuver around the problems.
I like that. Yeah, it's almost standing back and being objective about the problem instead of just making a decision on the fly, which is generally like 50-50 and most times wrong anyway.
Exactly.
Hey, Joe, it's great chatting to you. And you've got incredible energy, you've got vision, you've got focus. I love it. You're involved in so many different projects. You're breaking old rules, inventing new boundaries. I know you said you're motivated by freedom. What is that like for Joe Wilp? What does that mean to you? If you had to look down the path of your life and you've achieved that freedom, what does that look like to you?
It looks like to me that I have a background, a bunch of interesting people I can rely on, nearly all over the world, and it means I can go wherever I want. So if I'm bored here in Germany tomorrow, I will board a plane and go to Sri Lanka or somewhere. And that's freedom for me, to choose where you want to go, to choose how you want to live your life, to have a little bit of control of yourself also. Like if you are controlled by your bad habits, it's not good. That's freedom.
Well, it sounds like you're certainly setting yourself up for success, Joe. You know, just with the habits you're changing, your daily routines, focus, your energy. You definitely are creating a network around yourself, as you say, which is good. You came highly recommended, so that's always really nice. And I just want to say thank you for your time. I know you're a busy guy, and I've really enjoyed chatting to you. Thanks for being here today and just giving us a lot of insight into what you do.
Yeah, thanks a lot for having me and coming to know you, Mitch. You seem to be a pretty educated and well-driven guy, and I wish you all the best for English Forward and for your blockchain, and keep on.
Yeah, absolutely. We'll keep in touch, and I'm sure we'll bump into each other somewhere in the world.
Sure.
Certainly, if you ever come out this way, look me up.
Sure, I will do. Have a great day. Thank you.
Thanks so much, Joe. Have a good day. Cheers.
You were listening to an English Forward production, the web's largest Learn English community and Q&A site. Everything you need to understand and improve your English. Visit EnglishForward.com.